Welcome to Queens of WWE, Episode 8. I'm your host, Kyle the Man Anthony, joined by my co-host, CJP. CJ, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Kyle? It's EVP, CJP from the EVP show. Yeah, man. Looking forward to this episode 8 now. A lot of stuff has transpired since our last episode, so ready to dive in and get started. It's a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's go straight to SummerSlam this weekend. So we had Io Sky versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. I thought this was a great match. These two have great chemistry together. This match was a lot better than their match of Night Champions. Highlights here from Io hitting the moonsault, but missed. We had Roxanne and Raquel came out, to even the odds. But at the end of the match, Io hit the moonsault, but Liv was favoring her leg because Liv has targeted that leg for majority of the match itself. So Liv had a kind of disadvantage there in that perspective. She had a second Oblivion because she had a first one, but Io kicked out. But that second one when she hit it and Liv retained and retain the championship and with the victory. So this slightly surprised me a little bit, but not really because this was Liv's first title defense. So thinking in that way, it will be kind of weird and really sad for her to lose the championship in her first title defense. But I thought this was a great match. These two have great chemistry together. They always deliver every single time they're in the ring together, and they don't miss. We know how good Io is already. She could be in the ring with anyone, honestly, and have a great match. But I don't know. So between something with Liv and Io in the ring for me that really excites me. That really got me going in terms of being excited of seeing these two together in the ring. No matter how bad Liv's title run has been, that isn't her fault. They have great chemistry together, and it was a good match. And coming out of this, I was thinking, what's going to happen with Liv after this? Is like if she beat Io clean. Had no idea before Monday. I was like, I don't know what they do with Liv. I thought they were going to probably have like Roxanne turn on her or something. I don't know. I was thinking about all of this on Saturday, but I thought this was a great match. I enjoyed the finish. I was shocked by the finish, but I didn't mind it because I do love Liv as champion. I just think her reign has been not interesting so far, but I love this match. I can't wait to see where we go from here, which we'll get to in a minute. But CJ, how you feel about this match and the outcome?
The match was fine. Definitely a lot better than. Obviously, this is the fourth time we've seen these ladies in a singles match. Liv has held the 2-1 advantage. Obviously, undefeated going into Night of Champions. That we talked about this obviously before SummerSlam, on the phone, and that was one of my concerns was with these big four PLEs, with the ads and commercials and stuff. I was really concerned that, because Stephanie and Liv only got about 7.5 to 8 minutes at WrestleMania. That was my main concern going into SummerSlam was, were they going to give Liv and Io the adequate amount of time to be able to tell the story and to put on a great match? They definitely gave them, I think the match finished up around 13, maybe 14 minutes, something like that, which is plenty enough time for them. I think it started off a little bit slow, but ultimately it finished well. I personally, in my opinion, and that's what we do here on Queens of WWE, it's just an opinion based show, but I think they made the wrong choice. But my mind quickly changed, obviously, and you'll get into that later on with the stuff that transpired on Monday. But it just, Liv's reigns has just really been underwhelming. We talked about this before. The first title reign, was very dependent on Rhea Ripley, and then, like me and you talked about off camera today, Stephanie McCourt has actually been cleared for quite at least a month. but they kept her off of TV for the right time, which is something I can't understand about WWE is they think that keeping her off of TV for a month is the right thing to do when people online are complaining that she's going 100 days without a title defense. So why they didn't bring her back and have some sort of filler feud and then throwing her into the Queen of the Ring making it all the way to the Queen of the Ring finals. Just I don't understand all of that. I don't, that part really doesn't resonate, make much sense for me. But the match was fine. Ultimately, I thought maybe we were getting a title change, just to switch some stuff up. But ultimately, you can kind of tell after Monday the direction that they're going. Maybe it's just something that's kind of been backloaded as we make our way towards Money in the Bank, which I will be at. I'm super excited about that. So the match was fine. I don't think they need to wrestle again twice and back-to-back PLEs is plenty enough for me. Liv needs to do something else, and obviously that was a concern for me coming out of the SummerSlam match. Was like, where is she going to go from here? There's no credible baby faces on Raw, and they haven't brought Stephanie back, and she didn't come back at the end of the match. So where are we going to go from here? And then obviously, we got what we got Monday, but it was fine. I don't know where everybody goes from here. Well, I don't know where EO goes from here, but it was the right call ultimately, I guess.
Yeah. I think I may throw out a theory where EO goes, but I'll save that for later because I think I just now thought about this. This is something I just thought about, but I'll save that for later because I may think I know where they can go with EO, but I'll save that. But yeah, overall, love the match. They have great chemistry together. They end up, I think, Liv and EO are wrestling soulmates. I feel like they just can't have bad matches with each other. So this was good. I enjoyed this. And I think also too, last thing I'll say about this too is that I feel like with Liv, she works better with women who are the same height as her. I don't know why. Besides Rhea, because I did enjoy her match with Rhea. For some reason, Rhea is the only one I like Liv in the ring with. That's someone that's taller than her. But for the most part, I like Liv in the ring with women who are the same size as her or slightly taller. I don't know how you feel about that. If you agree with me with that or not. But I really enjoyed that with Liv personally. It makes an appealing match and an appealing feud and a matchup for Liv. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen her wrestle Sol Ruka, and obviously I don't know if that's one of your topics today, but the match for me just wasn't great. I don't
Well,
know.
I have that a little bit. We'll get into when we talk about Raw. So we'll
Yeah.
get to it.
But for me, like I said, it's just like the size difference between Sol and Liv Morgan. Obviously, Sol's almost 6 foot tall. Yeah, I mean, she definitely has good chemistry with Io Sky. But this is the 4th time they wrestled. Liv's has a title for 115 plus days, and she's got to move forward. And like I said, Io, won the Queen of the Ring, which was great. I thought she may win the title because ultimately I figured what WWE was going to try to do was to put Liv and Io and Rhea Ripley in November and Rita Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel Women's Championship, where because Rhea's never gotten a singles win over Io, so that's where I thought that.
Yeah.
That's why I thought Io may get the win. But they went in a different direction, so it's very
Right, yeah.
for WWE. So
Yeah, and it was needed. Well, it was at the time, again, questionable of having Liv as champion because I thought they were going to do one fade, but they did a completely different thing I was not expecting. So I was pleasantly surprised for what I saw on Monday because what I thought was going to happen, I wouldn't mind it either because something I did want to see. But like I said, we'll definitely get into it. But yeah, so that's it for that match. Let's get into Paige and the Bella Twins versus Fatal Influence. Not really nothing really to say here. This match was rough to watch. I have to say, you know, skipping over to the match a little bit with Fallon Henley hitting Brie Bella's head on the steel steps with blood. This is the first time. This is the. I didn't realize that this is going to be a lot of bleeding with the women this week. I'd expect that to happen, but we have this thing here with I don't think Brie was bleeding, but I don't remember. But in terms of a woman having get crushed on the steps or having get tripped over some steps, this is the. I realized this is the first of two of this happening this week. So that happened again. The match wasn't really all that great. Paige tagged herself in when Nikki was gonna go for something, but Paige tagged herself in and got herself and because she got tagged in, she got caught into a rolling elbow from JC and she got pinned and Fatal Influence won, which was the right call. I think they should win because they had you know they need some type of momentum on their side because you know we both thought that JC was going to be in the ladder match and Fallon and Laney are the tag team champions, so you know they need some type of momentum. So they made the right call there. But after the match was over with, you know, you called it. I didn't see it because I thought it was completely unnecessary. But we had the Bella twins, well, mainly Nikki turning on Paige because within the match, Brie got hurt. She had her shoulder, she was holding on to her shoulder. I was like, oh, what happened there? So I was like, being proud of that. She got hurt. She had she's gonna miss like 9 months because of her shoulder injury. So it looked like they're gonna be the feud between Paige and Nikki, and it's like, okay, you know, Nikki did the post match thing on WWE radio when she talked about, you know, that she felt like that Paige was holding her back, all this stuff that she you know, she took my spot at WrestleMania, but you asked her to replace you. So it's like you can't. So the logic of turning a Page made no sense. I don't care to see this because we saw this in 2015, and this is the issue that I have. I already seen this. We saw Paige and the Bellas had issues. That was the whole point of bringing in the new women at the time with Sasha and Becky and Charlotte at the time of bringing in new blood, all that stuff. Because it was the Bellas and that was there, then Paige and AJ, but then it was. So I feel like I'm living a rerun 10 years later. It's like, what are we doing here, man? I guess 11 years later, technically. What are we doing here? I don't care for this. I been there, done that with Paige and the Bella twins. I was fine for them to, you know, not win, but I just feel like, to me, I don't know. I love Paige as a baby face, but I think she's great as a heel because she just kind of thrives in that. I guess she's great for whatever role, but you know, she's a great baby face. She doesn't really get a chance to really show what she could do as a baby face, start to finish. Really, it wasn't really that long. It feels like every time I've seen Paige, she was mainly a heel for the most part when she was active in her first go around. But so when this happened, I was like, okay, well, fine. And Money made it clear to me that Paige and the Bellas are SmackDown stars because I was saying that for a while. I was like, which brand is Paige loyal to? Because I wasn't really sure yet. So the fact that she didn't show up on Monday basically thinks she's a SmackDown star, and that's fine. You know, whatever, that's fine. Makes sense, I guess. But you know, I didn't care for this. I'm just not really all that interested in seeing a Paige and Nikki feud whatsoever. But it is what it is. Maybe it'll be a short term until I don't know. Maybe they have oh God, dare I say this? I don't want to say this, but they're already going to end up having Nikki Bella versus who won the ladder match eventually, God forbid. But I have to put that out there because that is an option. Not, I mean, that's one option. There are player heels on the SmackDown brand, but for the meantime, for Paige, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't really care for this. I think it would be cool to see her Paige go after the U.S. champion, which is Tiffany Stratton currently. Or if Blake Monroe ever shows up to wrestle, then maybe Blake, whenever she wins the title, maybe Blake and Paige, that'd be cool. But anyway, in the short term, we know it's gonna be Nikki and Paige, which I'm not looking forward to. But whatever, it is what it is. This happened. I'm intrigued where Fatal Influence goes from here after this win, but because they feel like they're afterthoughts right now. But so yeah, how you feel about this, man? And how do you feel about this? Them doing this, they're recurring this feud between Paige and the Bellas, or Nikki Bella at this point.
Well, I mean, this had heel turned. We talked, like I said, we talked about this over the phone after SummerSlam, after we did the recap, and it was the absolute worst telegraphed heel turn that I've ever seen. From the Bella Twins, which Nikki's turned heel. This is the second time in a year, in a calendar year. Ultimately, like I said, we talked about this before, but I rewatched it on Bria and Nikki's podcast today, and it looks like it was from JC's cannonball, not Fallon on the outside, and ultimately the officials were trying to tell Brie to stay down. And then she said, like, no, she wanted to be able to complete this heel turn for Nikki and her. Like, that's why you didn't really see Brie beat Paige down. And so they almost even called the match off, mid-match with Brie's injury. Obviously she's out. If she has surgery, it could be up to 6 months, something like that. Ultimately, this was all set up to bring AJ Lee back. That's the way it was going. We were going to run back this nostalgia act with Paige and AJ Lee against the Bellas. But now that ain't happening because Brie isn't coming back anytime soon. So, of course, when you get an injury in WWE, you got to pivot. I didn't like the match. I thought it was god-awful. 8 minutes or something like that. It was terrible. I love Fatal Influence. Huge fan of JC. Fallon's great. I think Laney's getting better. Like I said, the heel turn, you could see it from a mile away, and it just wasn't performed correctly because obviously Brie was holding her shoulder. I mean, rightfully so. Like, she was really hurt. I don't know what they do. I know they're very high on the Bellas. So at the end of the day, we probably get a Paige, Nikki Bella one-on-one. And then you kind of made a great point. You got Chelsea Green there. I know I know for sure the Bellas wanted to do a heel tag team run, but there's no tag teams. So I don't know. I personally would have rather seen Paige turn heel and join Fatal Influence, but they didn't go that route. They went the original route. But obviously, like I said, this was going to bring AJ Lee back to WWE television, and now I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe until Brie gets back. So I don't know. It's just one of those situations, Kyle, where there's so many ladies in that mid card, mid card to upper, main event card are just kind of stuck in this vortex, and a lot of them are not getting TV time and stuff like that. I'm going to be honest, like I always am with you on these shows, I don't think that there's going to be much come out of either one. I don't know what they do with Fatal Influence moving forward because there's no tag teams. And with Paige and Nikki, I mean, I guess you could have Nikki go after the women's championship. I don't know. That's a terrible idea to even think about. But
I mean, the only reason why I bring it up is because the fact that I don't know they opt to put the title on who. We'll get to it later. I don't want to get it, but it's a great point. It's like I'm trying to really honestly think of any credible heels. We know that uh that person and the other person are teaming together, which I think is stupid, and kind of and that led nowhere. And then so it's like I'm just trying to think any credible heels that would make the most sense. We know that Jade and Charlotte have their own thing going, as we've been saying for weeks.
JC.
What? So I just had that. I don't know. That is a it's an option. Not saying it's going to happen because I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's an option. It's now
Oh, yeah.
out there and it's available to theorize.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's both of them have said several times on their podcast, they want to have a tag team run. Obviously, their contract is they got about another year or so. But they both obviously wanted to go for some sort of mid card singles titles as well before they retired. Um, I think it's probably definitely an option now, truthfully, that since you bring it up. But for me, I think I would go the original plan, which JC Jane. I think that's probably the most logical. I think they were doing that in Rhea anyway at SummerSlam before she got hurt. She's a heel. Fatal Influence is already established with the tag title. They could have, all the titles until maybe Rhea gets back maybe in October or so. So I don't know. Nikki's probably on the table now for sure. Unfortunately, I think that's a hell of an idea. I don't think it's a hell of an idea that needs to happen, but I think that's something probably
Right. No, I don't. It's not about one thing, but it's out there. Here's the problem too. Honestly, here's the problem too. We got a lot of injuries on SmackDown. Rhea's still out. Now Bree's out, and it's just changed a lot of plans for everyone involved. There's man, the SmackDown Women's division is changing direction every which way. But it's like with two injuries now happening, it's like who would have seen this coming into going into SummerSlam and going and coming out of SummerSlam? What is happening here, dude, with these injuries on SmackDown with the Women's division?
Yeah, at yeah, it's crazy. At the end of the day, like these injuries can, Rhea's injury already kind of screwed up a lot of plans for SummerSlam. So now we get the Brie Bella injury at SummerSlam, and WWE's having to go again away from some plans and go and try to pivot and obviously move Paige and Nikki Bella into maybe a minor feud, something like that, because they're gonna have a one-on-one match for sure. That let's just say this right now before we move to the next topic, that Paige and Nikki Bella does not need to be on a PLE. That's a SmackDown match. Let's not put that on Sunday night.
I can have it on Sunday night main event. Right. I know I was going to say that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's not put that on Sunday night. No, let's not do that on Sunday night's main event. If you're going to do anything, you can do the champion versus a JC Jane or something like that. I think that would be a lot better. I really feel like JC's the right call at the end of the day, because that's where Rhea was going anyway. Whether JC was winning the title or not, which I don't think she was, but I mean,
as a big time challenger that they just came up. They just I feel bad for. I do feel bad for Fatal Influence and JC in particular, because it's she had a great start coming face to face with Rhea, having a match with Rhea, having a match with Charlotte. It looked like it was leading to something, and then with Rhea's injury and the fact that that Fatal Influence and JC herself has been losing matches a little bit, because that every majority of the time she's in the ring, it's like, oh, I hope they correct the situation with JC Jane, because she was a former NXT Women's Champion. They decided to take the title off of Stephanie on NXT and to give it to JC, and she had that long reign. She had a second reign, and two, by the way, when she lost it to I forget who she lost it to, but then she gained it back, and then and so it's like they always do this. They always bring up someone from NXT that had success over there, and they don't doesn't translate for every person that comes up to the main roster. And I thought JC would have been a different outcome, but when Fatal Attraction was a thing, I did enjoy that group. of a Fatal Attraction with Mandy Rose, JC Jane, and Gigi Dolan. And I enjoyed Gigi Dolan and JC as a tag team. Personally, I was more of a Gigi Dolan fan out of the, when I've comparing the two. Ultimately, I felt like Gigi to me felt really was interesting and different and got me excited. But then when she left the company and they focused heavily on when she left the company and Mandy Rose left the company and focused on JC Jane, I was like, okay, let's see what happens. But then when she brought in Fallon Henley and then the other girl before Lainey was that other girl I liked. That was fatal influence to me was them three. Bringing in Lainey Reed, I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not really because Jasmine Nix, that's her name. That I really enjoyed them three together. That was really cool. I'm looking back when they for Jasmine herself being a part of WWE when she really didn't care to be in it. I don't know, why did you try out? I mean, it's like I don't know. Maybe she thought she'll love it, if she probably didn't. So can't really fault her that hard in that. It just kind of sucks because now you have someone in Lainey Reed that I don't think really fits. I still don't think she fits personally. I just think it doesn't. I don't know. She doesn't scream cool to me. When I look at JC, when I look at Fallon, they look cool to me together. And when Jasmine was a part of it, they look cool together. They look super attractive. All three of them were super attractive to me and just pleasing to look at them three on NXT together before. Lainey Reed, she's just there. We said this before, on the phone as well about Lainey Reed, that she's just there to feel like that this when the group eventually breaks away in a few years, that they were going to focus heavily on JC and Fallon because they just are the ones that people and I think the company care about more than Lainey Reed. So it's just I don't know. I feel like maybe she just came in as a tag team, maybe because probably would have been more upside instead of bringing them together as a trio, maybe, but. I don't know because we said before when Lainey got drafted over to SmackDown, we thought it was way too early because it was like, who is she? We don't know anything about her really, and so it's just kind of unfortunate that she's like the third wheel for Fallon and JC. So yeah, that's my thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I watched Fallon Henley on the Cody Rhodes podcast, and she's very WWE definitely high on Fallon. But I've seen a lot of people talk about Lainey Reed, saying that she's just somebody. I definitely thought she came up too early. I expected just JC to come up by herself, and then they made the call to put them all three together, which ultimately, in my opinion, was the right decision. Lainey is still a little bit green. But Fallon and JC both said specifically that Lainey is one of the hardest workers in the company. She's definitely a sponge. Like she's always trying to learn. I think she'll be okay under the tutelage of JC and Fallon. Because I don't see them breaking up anytime soon. But she's definitely the most green out of the three. I feel bad for the whole group entirely because the SmackDown Women's Division is the top women's division on WWE. I don't know. I would put it right, especially now with Lola headed that way. It's far superior to Raw. But there's just only 2 hours, so like it's a lot of people gonna get left off of TV, and there's no one to face Fatal Influence. Like I can't think of anyone that's a babyface team that's going to face them. So they could break the record for the longest tag team champions ever because there's no tag division. So I'm worried about that. But I see you got a question down there. It says,
probably for Irish. She said, do you guys still see Bella Twins staying heels? Yeah. I mean, ultimately they just turned. So I mean, and Nikki has a great heel. So I agree with that. And AJ still teaming with Paige. I guess if you said now we look. I don't care to see. Well, yeah, I don't care to see Paige to be in the team. Honestly,
not until Brie gets back. I think if Brie wouldn't have got hurt, we would have saw AJ back pretty quickly. to help Paige,
Sure.
but with Bree out, they're probably gonna, like I said, when there's an injury, they have to pivot. I don't see where it makes any sense for AJ to come back because then it's just 2 against 1. There's
That's
no
true.
Brie Bella,
Yeah.
so I don't think so. No.
And it will be weird too for the two baby faces going after one heel, and what sense does that make? Because after, yeah, so it just won't make any sense. I agree. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that for sure. Okay, well, let's move on now to the ladder match that happened. It was for the interim women's championship. Again, I say interim. We had Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair, Lash Legend, Jake Cargill, and Chelsea Green. This match wasn't really all that great, honestly. Really, the highlights this year about was really Charlotte and Jade were going after each other because they had their issues, of course, and then we had a stare down between Lash and Jade, which was pretty interesting and pretty intriguing there. Tiffany and Chelsea are still being buddy buddy. I don't really care for that. They were both jumping up and down like they were high schoolers or whatever or something. I was like, what are we doing with Tiffany Stratton, dude? This is just sad. She didn't even get that big of a reaction when she came out,
No.
and that was her in her hometown. And I was like, oh my god, man, that was sad to see. I was like, what? She should have defended that championship, and she really should honestly be a heel. I love Tiffany in both roles, but God, this woman is miscast now as a baby face. I mean, it's just sad. I think it's been it's not that she's miscast. It's just that she's been a baby face for so long that she kind of needs to be a heel again. So that's really where it comes to for me with that. Like I said, this match wasn't really all that great. Chelsea had her legs caught in between the ladder one, and there was like 3 different ladders that was set up. And her legs got caught in the ladder. She was pretty much hanging on. She was just hanging upside down for the longest time when she was tangled under there, and everyone else was fighting with each other on the left side of the ladder, the right side of the ladder, like they usually do with these ladder matches. Have multiple of these people up the ladder and attack each other, and try to grab onto the championship or briefcase if it's the Money in the Bank. They always do that. But yeah, Chelsea just was sitting there or hanging there for majority of the the rest of the match. And then when everyone gotten out of the ring, all this stuff with Jay taking out Charlotte and Nia at the outside, and then Tiffany hit the moonsault on the outside there too. Then when everyone was out of the ring, Chelsea just magically was all right all of a sudden, and then the crowd was excited for Chelsea. I don't know why. I do not get the appeal of this woman. She did nothing within this match, but yeah, she's getting a big reaction, which I don't get. But she just magically lift herself up, climb up the ladder, retrieve the championship, and becomes the new interim women's champion. I can understand why they did this because Tiffany isn't booked as a serious competitor. She's a pure comedy act, and won't be taken seriously at all. It's pretty sad that they decided to do this, because I don't know. I would have put it on Tiffany because she'll be like a double champion, and it wouldn't really hurt too much had she lost the championship to Rhea. Ultimately, that is a match to do a feud I do want to see is Tiffany and Rhea, whatever Rhea comes back. But for Chelsea though, I just think it's just a waste, and it's going to be just not interesting with her as the second place champion for how long it'll last for until Rhea. I'm really starting to be. They really should be concerned whenever Rhea's going to come back, honestly, because I don't know. This whole interim stuff is really annoying because I kind of wish it was an interim. I really wish it was for the vacant championship. They could have still done it if they were still hell bent of having Chelsea as champion. Fine, but it could have been a short reign as it probably will be, and they would have given it, I don't know, to a heel Tiffany or I can't even say Blake Monroe because she hasn't done anything in the ring yet. So that wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like ultimately though, I just if I don't know if Chelsea remains champion and and Rhea isn't back yet, and Chelsea's still champion, I'm going to question why she won that championship at SummerSlam when she did. I don't really care how big of a reaction she gets. I don't get the appeal of Chelsea, and I get the sense that people are playing follow the leader when they are in the crowd or whatever. I don't know. I just get that. I always get that sense because I don't view these people. Some of these women who are treated, if they're treated one way for the longest time. Chelsea has what we knew about Chelsea is that she does not matter because all she cares about is being a comedy act. It doesn't matter what she did prior during her time in WWE. I don't care. I didn't see. So I don't know. All I know is that what I see her doing currently in WWE right now, she has from her time to what she came back. She entered the Royal Rumble. She gets chucked out in the Rumble very quickly. I think it happened twice. And then you had this, and then her being doing this whole playing president thing that she was doing for the longest time with Alba Fire and Piper Niven at the time. It was so they did that with her all that time. Her U.S. title run was not great at all, and she had to be the first woman to be the first ever U.S. champion. That was terrible. So it just everything about Chelsea personally for me just does not work for me compared to the rest of these women who are on the show who are serious characters, serious wrestlers, and they take it seriously in the ring and as performers. Chelsea she's as pure. Well, I can't even call her entertainment, but that's the only thing that she's doing is just doing the entertainment part. But she hasn't been presented as a credible wrestler because I can't state that she can't wrestle because that's not fully true. It's just the way she's been. Her character is not is too goofy and too much in the comedy world that I can't take this woman seriously when she's in the ring because that's just not what her character is. She's a goofy character, and you said have her as the interim champion. In some ways, I get it, but I just don't like it, and I'll be intrigued how long this is going to last for because I don't know if I can stomach this woman as champion for at least a month. But I've gone too long about this. CJ, go ahead. You tell me how you feel because I can go off on this, and I don't want to keep talking about this any longer than I already did. So go ahead, man.
I mean, for what it was, I don't, I'm not the biggest Jade Cargill fan. I think that she is the most physically sound on the main roster. I just think her wrestling ability and her selling ability is just not great. Lash Legend, she's definitely going to be a star, but I think it's a little bit too early with her. The match was fine. Went about 14, 16 minutes, something like that. Ultimately, I picked Charlotte. I literally told you, I think the day of, I was like, man, I think Chelsea's winning for some crazy reason. They're going to do this whole, like, Sami Zayn-esque type shit or whatever. And that's exactly what they did. WWE is now, we talked about this earlier today. WWE is now on this thing where it's not about what's written online or, it's about the crowd reaction. And Chelsea got the loudest pop when she come out. The fans love her. At the end of the day, it's another one of those different situations where maybe people don't understand it, but it's just she's over. She has worked hard in the company. Just we're not talking about the men, but for me, this is more of a Sami Zayn type situation where WWE is giving Chelsea her moment. It was first said that this wasn't going to go into the record books, and then they quickly shifted it to say that it was. So this is ultimately just a moment for Chelsea Green. I think it lasts a lot longer than 9 days. I don't think she's going to lose it Friday or anything like that. It really, it really only limited it down to Chelsea or Tiffany Stratton because they kind of ruined it by making the Charlotte Jade match for Friday um, on SmackDown because I didn't think that Charlotte would be defending or Jade was winning anyway. So I don't know why I picked Charlotte. And, at the end of the day, Charlotte really didn't need to be an interim champion for her. What was it, number 15 or something like that? So it was a shock factor. WWE's really doing that now. They did it with Sami Zayn. I don't ever believe that he's ever winning the title again, in my opinion. And I think that this is just another one of those situations where Chelsea Green is getting her moment because she's been with the company for so long, off and on. She is over with the fans, and they're basing it off crowd reactions. I do believe Rhea Ripley. I don't.
I like what Iris said that she was surprised that they gave title to Chelsea. Yes and no. I was also surprised, but also from just eliminating women who could have won and who could have been the champion, that would have made the most sense at that time. That they wanted to get the championship too. It was going to be. Some people thought Lash was going to end up winning it too. Honestly, I think ultimately the championship should have been on a person that they knew that Rhea was going to defeat. I don't think they want Tiffany and Rhea right now. Though I would love to see that feud at some point in the future, but I think that's not what they wanted to do at that moment. We see a lot of Jade and Rhea. Who else was in the match? It was
Charlotte.
Crap. Who else was in the match? It was Charlotte. Yeah, we saw Charlotte too as well. So it's like, I guess the only two that would have made the most sense at that moment would have been Chelsea or Lash ultimately. Now I think personally it would have been interesting if it was Lash, because I would have it would have been interesting to develop an interesting match between Lash and Rhea, I think. But like Jade, yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean Jade is fine. She's not for me, but that's cool that you like her. Iris, awesome, cool, that's awesome. But yeah, so at the end of the day, we'll see what's gonna happen on Friday. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen. I thought they would give it to Charlotte. Yeah. I thought they could have given it to Charlotte. That would have made.
I think the main reason they didn't give it to Charlotte Flair is because it's an interim championship that's ultimately going to go back to Rhea. I believe she's back by October. I think she's back by Money in the Bank. That's my opinion. They did say that, like, leading up to the match, that her recovery is a lot faster than expected. But here's a little fantasy booking. I'm gonna say that I don't think that Rhea Ripley ends up even having to face Chelsea Green. I think a heel is going to win the title from Chelsea, whether it's going to be maybe sometime before Money in the Bank, and then ultimately, maybe Rhea beats that person at Money in the Bank to regain her title. But at the end of the day, the end goal is to put the title back on Rhea Ripley, and I think that really nobody wants to see Rhea and Chelsea. That's two baby faces, unless Rhea. Unless they bring Rhea back as a heel, which they could. She has been off television for a while. They love to do that. So, unless Rhea's coming back as a heel, I really don't see the Rhea and Chelsea Green match happening. I think something crazy happened. Maybe.
Well, they did that with Becky before when she came back. When she came back as came back to face Bianca, and she was a baby face, and then she turned heel, or even when she came back last year, and was teaming with Lyra, then she turned heel after the 24 hours later on Raw. So I guess they could do something like that. I don't know if they're gonna. I can't see Rhea turn heel right now. I just can't see it. It just seems she's still super over. She's getting Becky Lynch reactions, and look, again, we'll get to Monday because I was super excited. But she has that level of reactions every single time now. She's at that level, which is slightly surprising to me because to me, I've never been that big of a fan of Rhea Ripley. When Rhea and Bianca came up, I was like, okay, because I was still in the Becky and Charlotte and Alexa and Bailey vibes still in that. And for me personally, now it's only a handful of women that from NXT 2.0 and all that stuff that I really care about. I love the women that came from 2.0, honestly. Then besides even besides Io too, I'll throw Io in there too because she was in the same category there too. I love Io a lot more. I think for me, I'm more appealing to women who are smaller and not already jacked and taller and athletic. They're great. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed Bianca and Rhea, the main two I'm thinking of right now in the rain, and they have great. And I enjoyed them both, but I just can't. I'm not in love with those women like everyone else is personally because I think for me the rest of the women are smaller than them and really and are realistically size of being a little bit smaller and not like monsters or like taller women that are that's kind of a little abnormal as in real life. But I think that's why I can't really get super behind them too much because every time they're in the ring with someone smaller and especially someone that I like Io or Rhea, or Roxanne or Becky even though she's not that small, but man, it's to me, I just get kind of like, I want to root for their opponent almost every single time they're in the ring with someone smaller. But that's just me personally. But again, I don't hate them. It's just preference, I guess, when it comes to that. But it is what it is. Okay, so any last thoughts of the ladder match or Chelsea champion or?
I mean, it's just one of those things, man. That it's just what WWE and TKO, like I said, what they're doing. They are trying to pay off some of these moments for these people that's been with the company. They did it for Sammy, and now they're doing it for Chelsea. I'm okay with it. On both sides of the ball, you got to kind of be okay with it. She's not going on a monumental title reign by no means or anything like that. So I like Chelsea personally, but I just it's good to see.
Like I said, it is what it is. In terms of that, they wanted to put the championship with someone that knows that that wasn't going to be a long term thing, and it is, and ultimately it is interim, which I get. So it's not. What's not going to hurt? We're going to see how long it's going to last for. I am slightly intrigued or interested what they're going to do on Friday. So with the dynamic with her and Tiffany, how will Tiffany react? How will Blake Monroe react? Because that's going to be something there too, I'm sure. So, that will be, I guess, intriguing to see how that's going to play out with the three of them in particular. So, I guess we'll see. Okay, so let's get into Monday Night Raw. So, this was insanely good of a Raw. I say as a whole, but. Let's get into the segment between Liv, Roxanne, and Raquel. When Raquel came out, she's the new she's the new Intercontinental champion. She came out with the barbed wire custom championship belt, which I think is kind of unnecessary. Why does she have barbed wire? What's the point? That's not within her character. They never said that she came from the streets or anything. It looks like a fence. I don't know why that happened. But they did the match between Sol and Raquel. Was it a championship match or was it a regular match?
It was Sol and Roxanne.
It was?
She faced Roxanne on Monday.
Oh, okay. Wow, why did I thought she faced her? Okay. So it was Sol and Roxanne, I should say, by mistake. And Roxanne once again lost, or didn't even lose. It was an edited disqualification because all the Judgment Day came out and just attacked Sol and was just beating her down, and then just was beating her down and later her out and everything. And Liv was screaming to the camera or whatever. And then and then who decides to show back up? Shockingly, I screamed because I did not expect it. It shocked the crap out of me. And that was my favorite. My first time ever talking about this woman on this show is my favorite. The man, Becky Lynch, is back. She confronted Liv Morgan and told Liv, just completely smoked Liv on the mic, saying that you haven't defended that championship. You are a boring champion. You rather be a valet. You might as well be playing cheerleader every single week. And then when she said that you're, what she said about Donovan Mysterio was so funny. I just rewatched it. I
She
forgot what
said
she said about Donovan.
she said that she's not even the best champion to sleep with Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic Mysterio, right? Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, that was a pure burn there. And but then, so Liv was just backing away, all this stuff, and then we hear a big boom, and then here comes Stephanie Vicaire for the first time since WrestleMania. She decides to show back up finally and go in and attack Liv uh after she took some time off because if anyone watched Unreal, she said she was suffering through. She was going hard, really. In the ring, super hot every single day. Even I think it was even prior to her time coming to WWE. She's always been in the ring before she came to the company. So she was going hard every single time, and her being the champion last year, and she felt that it was the right moment for her to lose the title at WrestleMania, which was good for her, taking a time off to recover and to recharge, which makes sense. Everyone needs that. Becky did that too. She disappeared too, and then Becky came back as well. But yeah. So Stephanie came back. Liv ran back into the ring. So Stephanie followed her and just was beating down on Liv. Meanwhile, Becky was on the top rope just watching all this happen. And then when Liv ran away and scurried away from with the rest of their Judgment Day, we see Becky and Stephanie come face to face. Almost, they were kind of next to each other, and they keep face to face. And I think that I don't know what Becky said, saying that I'm coming to win that title and all this stuff. You're not going to take it away from me, and the second thing you're not going to take it away from me. I was like, oh my god, give me this feud between these two. This is something I've been dying to see for the longest time. Is Becky and Stephanie. Becky needs to be. I was waiting for Becky to be in a ring with these new women, having her in the ring with Stephanie, even Roxanne even was been saying that for a long time. Sure he did this stuff with Soul, having a rematch even with Liv. I'd love to see that too. So I love that Becky's back. If anyone on here knows or doesn't know, I'm a big Becky Lynch fan. Been a fan of that woman since 2015 when she debuted on the main roster. And I've been a fan of her since I was 18 till now being 29. And I got to meet her during her Burke tour in 2024, 2 years ago. So I'm a big fan of this woman, and I'm glad she's back for as long as it'll last for. And and I even got to see Becky a couple of times too when they had shows here in Baltimore. Mostly every time that they have a show here, Becky's advertised to be on that show. So yeah, Becky's the consistent wrestler I see when I go to these shows, and she was the first wrestler I got to ever meet during a book tour that she had. So yeah, I love this. This was I was loving this segment. This was the best. This is the best moment of Raw on Monday to me, and nothing topped this segment whatsoever. And this is my favorite moment of the show. So that's all I have to say. CJ can go ahead. Talked enough.
It's crazy because last week we were talking about where they were going to go next with Liv Morgan if she retained, and we were kind of like talking about it, and I believe I brought it up. Maybe you followed me up. I said maybe they bring Becky Lynch back because obviously they've been holding Stephanie off of TV with her being cleared for over a month, which I still don't understand that. But that's neither here nor there. We kind of manifested it in a way. But what I do want to say about that is, from a creative booking standpoint, it really shows that they really are paying attention to online, to crowds, to everything about how Liv's title truly is. They had to literally bring Becky Lynch, who was on vacation, which they were in the town where real close to where her and Seth, where Seth's from and all that. They do coffee and stuff over there. Yeah. So they had to bring her, which she was on vacation. I'm sure she was probably coming back soon anyway. But they had to bring her back as a baby face because Raw just doesn't have any credible baby faces. For me, they've kind of ruined Soul. I think they rushed her way too fast, putting the IC title on her. She was the best one to come out of NXT, truthfully, and I don't know how. I mean, she can recover, obviously, but I don't know what they do with her moving forward. Maybe still in the IC picture, but it just goes to show you that they were not confident on anyone to step in and fill that top babyface role. So it was a great call. And then, at the end, obviously, Stephanie and Becky. Stephanie tells Becky Lynch to get out of her way, or to get out of her ring. So we're definitely
she's out of her way. Don't. Yeah. She said don't get in my way, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're definitely cooking here. Ultimately, I can't really see how Becky or Stephanie taking a loss. I know a lot of people are wanting to see the one-on-one, which it could happen. I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. I can't really see either woman taking a loss to be able to get to the title match. So I think we're headed for a triple threat, maybe at Money. I'm hoping wink at Money in the Bank, because I will be there. But yeah, it's good for Raw. They need baby faces at the end of the day, and she made that Intercontinental Championship relevant. She's on the final run of her contract, so I did say, like on your show, I remember that she needs to win the world title again before she's done. So this is an opportunity, and I'm going to say this again. I am a Liv Morgan fan, but I do think the title needs to come off of her. And I think this is a good way to have that happen. So,
yeah, to bring it too. Not only you brought back Stephanie, but Becky as well. Two big top baby faces, which Raw desperately needed. I mean, in that women, I mean, my God, we've been talking about this for weeks on with the Raw Women's division. This is so lackluster in terms of any credible challengers for Liv. We were talking about this for weeks. Maybe, yeah, and it's like. And and they just recently turned Lyra heel, which we'll get into. She just had another commercial break segment. I just got done watching just like yesterday because I didn't know what happened till I watched it. You just this happened. I was like, so what? So they again with Lyra doing these backstage segments. She said that she wants to go after the IC champion, but how can she if she's not showing up on Raw or they're not doing any backstage segments from her at all? She feels she's just so cold. He just turned her heel. This is the thing I don't really understand. This thing I don't get, right? Because with Becky, before she left, she was a pure heel. She had her issues with Lyra. She had her issues with Maxine, and then her holding the IC chair, and even AJ Lee. All that time, Becky was the heel. They turned Lyra heel because of the whole Bailey stuff, and it was a cool moment. It was a cool thing to see. But ever since Saturday night's main event, what has Lyra done on the show? Just doing backstage segments that a lot of people don't watch because they don't have a VPN on their Netflix account. Like I don't. A lot of people don't have that. I had to find this out on YouTube on a YouTube channel that shows women's matches on that time throughout each show for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. I had to find this on YouTube, and I was like, okay, because had I not, I never would have known about this, or CJ would have told me about it or something, because I'd be like, okay, this happened. Okay, well, this should be on Raw because she recently turned heel. How can she? Why? Okay, here's the other thing too. Here's the thing I just realized as well. She said that she wants to go after the IC championship. How can she when she's not interacting at all with Raquel or Sol at the time consistently? And they did that backstage segment it's been like a month ago now, or 2 months ago, and they haven't followed up on that whatsoever. And what, we're gonna have two heels go after each other with Lyra and Soul? I mean, Lyra and Raquel. Really? Is that really good? Is that who do we root for? I mean, it's like it's just I I don't really understand the method here. What they're doing with Lyra, if she's continuously going to keep doing these backstage these commercial segments on the show when she's be saying all this stuff, but if no one is watching and the only people that know about it is the people in the crowd every week that gets to see that because they're physically there, but at the people at home that we have to find out off of podcasters who review the shows that has a VPN, or just find out ourselves by just realize or somehow some way figure it out that, oh, this happened, let's see what happened because we heard about it from someone else. So if you want Lyra to mean something as a heel, get her on the show consistently, for people at home who are watching Raw right now, that second live. How you feel about this, CJ?
I just kind of touched on it with Soul. We talked about this, the last 2 weeks, or leading up to when Soul dropped the title. I just don't think WWE creative. Soul did an interview talking about what Triple H said to her after she dropped the belt, saying basically that it's going to be okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's what we do, which Triple H has a new gift, our catchphrase, saying that now. It's what we do. So basically, just telling her to remain being that baby face, and we'll see what happens next. I just don't think that they were very impressed with what she was doing. And while they were trying to figure that out, they turned Lyra Valkyria heel, which she took out Bayley at Saturday Night's Main Event. And obviously, Bayley's been written off of TV, which, I'll kind of get into that in a second. Because Lyra's still talking mad crap about Bayley. So I don't think that's done completely yet either. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's a wasted heel turn unless they're going to have somebody like a Bayley win the Intercontinental Championship off of Raquel Rodriguez, which could be a possibility. And then, ultimately have Lyra win the title from her. If they're not going in that direction, then it is a complete waste of a heel turn for me personally, because ever since she turned heel, she's been great, but she hasn't had it ever since Soul dropped the title. She hasn't, they were building to that match for SummerSlam. And they had Soul Rika drop the title the Raw before SummerSlam. So they kind of got away from it. And now she's got the Joe Hendry type treatment where she's doing the commercials on, if you don't have watching with the VPN, you're not going to see it. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that's the right call. Like, you turn somebody heel and then that you just keep them off of the main screen or having a promo in the ring or something. Ultimately, I don't know what they do, truthfully, because they're not going to have Lyra go after Raquel Rodriguez. You just don't see. They could, but you just don't see it very often with two heels going after each other. So maybe something cooks with Bayley. Maybe she's coming back. Maybe she re-signed. I don't know. I haven't heard. Maybe Bayley wins the title from Raquel at some point, and that's how we get Lyra back on TV. At this point, I don't really know. I just don't see Lyra Valkyria and Raquel having a match. So it's a big disappointment for me because I was looking forward to seeing what creative could cook up for Lyra as a heel, and so far it is completely a bust, in my opinion.
It's sad too because when Lyra had her that awful match she had with Becky last year at SummerSlam in their last match together, it was like, man, what is happening with, what are you gonna do with Lyra? I didn't think months later or a whole year later she would be doing these backstage segments. So that's on commercial break consistently when her turn heel. Hopefully they'll turn around, but we'll see. So far it's not looking great. But anyway, let's get into NXT. Final topic for today. So we had Jada Parker and Thea Hale versus Carmen Petrovic and Nikita Lyons. I really this match was okay enough, I guess. I mean, I really I'm starting to really question what they're doing with Jada Parker at this point. I'm not really sure. She's still being in this feud with Natalia. I just don't. I'm not seeing what the point of this is. This has been going on now for weeks at this point. I'm like, okay, where is this leading to? Thea Hale's now involved. Don't really know. It's good for Thea to be involved in this something because I do like Thea. I do want to see her more. I said my piece about Carmen and Nikita, mainly Carmen. I really like her. There's something about her that it's not only because she's hot, but it's just she has that it factor. She has that it factor in her. She just looks like a star to me. She could be a good North American champion if they give her a chance to have that. Nikita is the evolved champion. I think it would be a cool look for Carmen to win the North American championship, and they can just be like in that team there. No, they're not going to be. It's not the tag teams, but they're she's a secondary champion on NXT, and you have Nikita as the evolved champion. I think that would work. That'd be a cool look for her to also have gold, honestly. But yeah, and then with Natty, I just don't really. It's really. It shouldn't be about Natty. Ultimately, I think it should be about Nikita and Carmen. That's who they should be. What they should be focused on. That's what NXT is about anyway. Natalia is a main roster act. I understand that she wanted to be down there because she wanted to help the women down there. She wanted to help Jada, and it backfired. But it's like this has been going on now for a couple of weeks. I'm starting to get kind of bored. I think Jada needs to move on. It needs to move on to face Zarya. Honestly, at this point, I mean, what are we doing here? Or even have her in the NXT Women's Championship picture? But I think she should be at least the North American champion for to start, because that'll be her first championship. So I don't know what we're doing here with Jada. Ultimately, she can't keep facing Natalia forever. I refuse to. I mean, I could call her Natty. She's been Italian. She's been Italian to me for a long time. It's hard to. I know about the same, but whatever. Point is, I don't what I am just. I'm just kind of annoyed of seeing Natalia and Jada go back and forth with each other. Jada needs to move on and go after Zarya, in my opinion, for the North American Championship. I said my piece on this. CJ, go ahead.
Well, first shout out to Nikita. Obviously today, Nikita Lyons. Obviously today is her birthday. She is the WWE Women's Evolved Champion. So this storyline has got I talked about this on NXT recap last night. It's got me all twisted around because we got Thea Hill, who's competing in the TNA Knockouts television tournament to crown a new TNA Women's Knockouts television champion. I believe she advanced in the first round when I was still covering it. Obviously not covering it anymore, so I haven't watched it. But this goes back to the promo or the interview in the back with Layla Diggs before she got injured. And me and you talked about this before. I think this ultimately Layla Diggs is going to, when she comes, maybe she's on her way back. Maybe it's not serious. I don't know the extent of her injury. But ultimately, I think she probably make that third wheel for Jada and Thea Hill. Thea's pinned Nikita twice in a row. Once last Wednesday on a ball, and now last night. So she's obviously the number one contender for Nikita's championship. But ultimately, we've only gotten 2 singles matches with Jada and Natty. You know that we're WWE and Triple H and Shawn Michaels love trilogies. So we're going to ultimately end up with that Jada Natty third final match because Thea was responsible for Natty losing the second match by throwing the towel in. So until Jada Parker gets out of this Natty faction vortex, which I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, truthfully, she's not going to be able to move forward. But after she's done, I believe she goes over to the third match with Natty, then she can kind of move away and move towards Zarya or Kendall Gray for one of those top titles on NXT. But it's okay. It's not terrible. It's not the worst television I've ever seen. But ultimately, I said this last night. Like, when are we getting to the finish line with this? At the end of the day, like, this isn't a story that we could continue on for 3 to 6 months. Like, we gotta get to the finish line here. But Natty's doing a great job on NXT, even though she's not wrestling. She's still putting over a lot of these younger stars, and I think that is the key for the older generation stars in WWE. And I think that's setting an example for the whole roster that you got to eventually put over these younger stars, because these older people can't wrestle forever. And so you need the elevation of these younger stars to be able to carry the company into the next decade. And so I applaud Natty for that. I think she's doing a great job. But this storyline it's just all circled around to Jada and Natty. Finally, I think maybe they finally finished their feud at Heatwave. I think that's probably a logical destination for Jada and Natty. Some sort of stipulation match, street fight, something like that. Maybe they could do.
Yeah. I think I need to hear more from Nikita and Carmen. I feel like too. I think don't say too much. They're just there just to wrestle. I don't want them to be like I don't want them to be silent and just wrestle and that's it. I want them to talk, show some emotion, give me a reason to care about. They said only a few words of why they decided to team up with Natty, all this stuff. Give me more of a reason. Give me more of how do they feel about being even more how do they feel about Jada? How do they feel about Thea Hale? Ultimately, I need to hear more from them beyond them just wrestling and not and staying silent. So I would like to see that a little bit more between the two of them, because I think they can both talk. I heard them talk before. I heard Nikita talk before, and Carmen as well. So they can talk. Let's hear what they have to say in promo segments a little bit more consistently. That's how I would like to see. So hopefully that's what they'll do moving forward in the near future. Hopefully, because I think we need to hear from them and not have them stay silent. Okay, so let's. Anybody got anything else to say about it?
No, I was just saying 100%. I agree. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So let's get into Zarya and Ren Sinclair for the Speed Championship, and also too, they also add a theme there too, is that if Ren won, she'll get a North American Championship match, and it's like I really have no idea why that was even. That was so weird, because when they made this match last week, when I thought this was like for both championships or something. It was like a winner take all type thing. I thought the North American Championship was on the line too or something. I thought that was the case, but I guess it wasn't. It was just for the Speed Championship, which was whatever. The match the match expired. They didn't have. They should not be pinning Zarya. Zarya anyway. I like Ren, but her pinning Zarya makes no sense to me. But so it kind of. So it just had time ran out, and because of that, and Zarya beat her up afterwards anyway. So I mean, Zarya was the one that left standing tall at the end of the match, at the segment. But we get in a championship match next week between Ren and Zarya for the North American Championship. So Ren is back again. Hopefully, it'll be a longer match this time. But it's just. What's the point of this? Is for them to just I don't mind them feuding with each other. It's just really confusing and odd. They did it in this way. They could have had Red face someone else in order to have a number one contendership. They always do this. Have the potential challenger go wrestle the champion in order to get a championship match from that person they just wrestled. We kind of we saw it similarly just recently. We just talked about it between Io and Liv, and so it's like they love doing that, but it's consistently them doing that. But how you feel about this, CJ? How you feel about them running it back again next week for the North American Championship?
I mean, I love Ren Sinclair. She's great. she's not on Kendall Gray's level, but she's phenomenal, charismatic. She can go in the ring too. She's going to be great one day, not now, one day on the main roster. I'm not a big fan of this whole speed championship, men or women, which we never see the men's opinion anyway. But we really only see Brienne. Basically, she's basically the only one that this has any semblance to this title. But, they go 5 minutes. I talked about it last week. It was basically Ren either had to pin Zarya or retain the title, and I think they definitely took the right approach. If they were going to do a rematch and have the time limit expire, you only have 5 minutes, so that's not a lot of time. We saw at the end, Zarya went for the F5, and then Ren put her in her submission hold, which kind of got broke up. We never saw how that would have transformed, but yeah, it's a little bit interesting that Zarya stood tall. Ren's going for the NXT North American Championship Tuesday. A lot of people think it could be a title change. I think that I'm not. I thought Zarya was winning the speed title, to be honest with you. I thought that maybe they wanted her to do what Sol Ruka did, and that's was hold the NXT North American Championship and the Speed Championship at the same time. Obviously, they do not. So I don't think it's the right time to take the title off of Zarya. I'm not saying Ren Sinclair is not worthy of the North American Championship, but there's already plenty enough people for Kendall Gray right now and at the top of the card. So I think Zarya, even though she's could be the best of the group, will kind of still get lost in the sauce because there hasn't really been much of a story with her and Kendall. So I do think Zarya retains, and then maybe she moves. I don't know. I think they're going to circle back to Zarya and Lizzie Rain. Ultimately, I think she, unfortunately, probably is going to be the one to take that title off of Zarya in due time. I think that might be our heat wave match is Zarya and Lizzie Rain, because WWE's really high on her. It's to get another Chelsea Green situation where she's super over with the crowd. So I love Ren, but I don't think she wins next week. I think Zarya has to still prove the dominance. I think it's too early to take the title off of Zarya because what is she going to do after? Because Kendall is got a mountain worth of challengers coming for her. So.
Yeah, well, definitely we'll see. I would maybe if the plan is for Lizzie Rain to take the title off of Zarya, maybe they do Lizzie Rain and Lizzie Day because they've been going back and forth lately for a few weeks or so. So I could definitely see that potentially. So we'll see. But anyway, now let's get into the main event of NXT, which was Kendall Gray and Lola Vice in the underground match for the NXT Women's Championship. This match was good, but it ended up being sour super fast because Kendall immediately, I don't know, I say what 10, 15 seconds in the match, Kendall got tripped and hit her head on the steps. Kind of like I said earlier about Bree's injury on the steps at SummerSlam. It's very similar here. I don't know what happened this week with both of these women hitting the steps really hard to have injuries. First Brie, but then Kendall with her ear just bleeded out. I thought it was her head at first. It happened so fast, it ended up being her right ear, and we just saw just blood dripping out. So then I think it was like the bottom half of the ear wasn't inside, but I think it was the outside ear portion, and just blood pouring everywhere like that. I was like, oh my god, it looked awful. Then her head, they had tape over her head. I thought that was weird though, because it wasn't like she had a head injury; it was just her ear. So it just looked weird. I understand why they wanted to do that. Probably it was a quick, a quick thing. They had no chance to do it properly, which I get, but it just looked awkward ultimately because she didn't have a head injury. But they went through the match itself. I thought Lola did good in terms of being aggressive there and taking every little shot that happened there. But ultimately, but ultimately, like near the end of the match itself, it was when because you only win by submission or if you forced to give up or whatever. It was when Lola had Kendall in a chokehold and she was Kendall looked like she was about to pass out, but then we saw Ren slapping Kendall to wake her up because she was being it was the most serious I saw Ren I think ever. Ultimately, being super serious and more like talking like a pure adult. I feel like I don't know because we really don't hear Ren really talk too much. I don't think. And so when that happened, I was like, okay, she fired Kendall back up, and Kendall had like the second gear in her, and she hit the back elbow fist she likes to do. I love seeing that from Kendall, and then she made Lola submit and retain the championship, and they hugged it out, and we saw Lola was crying, and they were embracing each other, and it was they share a moment there, and it all looks like that Lola is set to enter the main roster now. I saw anyway after the show was over with that Lola was being congratulated by everyone, and Damian Priest came out to hug her. They are a couple, so we know, and and so that was a great moment there. I thought it was a great match and a great send off for Lola for NXT, and I hope that Kendall's all right. I hope that it doesn't lead to any damage to the point where she's forced to relinquish. Hopefully, it's just she'll just needs a week to heal or just not wrestle next week and just do like a promo segment or something and wait until like 2 weeks to wrestle again. But hopefully, hopefully Kendall's all right because that looked terrifying. That looked like it sucked. I can't even imagine. I had ear infections before, but never had my ear bleeding like that. I give it up. I give it up for Kendall. I'm glad she retained. I love her as the champion. I love Kendall. Everything about Kendall is fantastic. So the last thing we need is her to get to be gone due to injury. So I'm glad that she seems all right and she'll be all right moving forward. But how you feel about this match, CJ, and everything with Lola and Kendall itself?
I mean, Kendall's a star. I mean, I say this every week. I don't know. For me, it looked like I seen the video she posted on her Twitter after the match. It looked like there was some damage on the inside of the ear, so maybe it was hopefully not. I haven't seen the prognosis, but it doesn't look. It looks similar to like maybe a busted eardrum or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have I'm not a doctor. But the match was fine. Kendall went in this as an underdog. Lola's never been defeated in underground. Obviously, the rumor mill's been rampant for a couple of months now that Tatum and Lola were going to be up next to go to the main roster. Obviously, Damien's on SmackDown. It makes the most sense for her to be going to SmackDown. Lola's done everything she could do in NXT. She's won the title. She's taken it over to AAA. She's been a mixed tag champion over there as well. Lola's phenomenal. Also, she posted all her NXT gear on her Twitter account as well. So she's done on NXT. She's definitely headed to SmackDown to join Damien. Definitely right call for sure. Let's hope that, like you said, there's no serious injuries with Kendall. Kendall's just not going to back down from any type of fight. I think that's the story they're telling with Kendall is she's not scared to go into any type of she's great at acclimating into any type of match. She was definitely the underdog because she doesn't have that type of her wrestling skills don't really fit on the narrative for an underground match. But Ren Sinclair, she definitely helped out a lot. We saw a rep bump, where Kendall was kind of out for a second before Ren snapped her out of it. Didn't really care for the rep bump part, but I guess it kind of played into the story with Kendall and Ren. Great match. Like I said, Kendall's going on a generational run with that title. And Lola's headed to Friday Night SmackDown to join the already stacked women's roster over there on SmackDown. I just worry. I tell you this all the time. You know, there's a lot of people, either the Blake Monroes, the Jordan Grace, the Julias, that's just not doing anything right now. So hopefully they put her into something when she gets on the main roster and she doesn't get lost in the sauce or back in catering or doing vignettes like Blake. But Kendall is going to be a busy lady moving forward. She still has Kalani and Rena Balkan and Kelly Armstrong. It's the list is just going to keep piling on for Kendall Gray. There's so much for her to do. It was definitely the right call. Like I said, great match. I kind of expected a little more, honestly, but it was a good match. Great way to send Lola out. I love how they kind of did the torch passing at the end from Lola to Kendall. Much respect between them two. So I look forward to seeing what Lola can do on the main roster on SmackDown and seeing what's next for Kendall, which I do believe is going to be Kalani Jordan. That's what I think.
Yeah, so yeah, for sure, we definitely see, because I know, because we said before, Kendall and Kalani, they just have great chemistry together. I want to see that even more. So we'll see. But that does it. Thanks everyone for listening. CJ, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you again, man, for including me in the show. I look forward to it every week. I get to kind of escape everything that's going on in the men's division. And kind of come over here and just kind of let loose with you and fantasy book and have a good time. We're eight episodes in, guys. So SmackDown is definitely lucky to have gotten all the advice. So congrats to her on definitely getting called up to the main roster. But as far as where you can find me on my socials, you can find me at EVP2JP on X and Instagram. Obviously, my YouTube channel, which we're streaming this show live to. You can find me on YouTube at the EVP Show. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Tomorrow night I'm live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time with the Big Brother Season 28 Week 4 recap. And then I'm back Friday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern with your SmackDown recap. And then I have doubleheader Sunday, starting with Sunday Scoops at 6 p.m. Eastern. And my last LFG show for Season 3 at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, episode 16. So the rest of the week, I'm pretty full up besides Saturday. So once again, thank you to Kyle and everyone that tuned in, and look forward to seeing where everything is going to lead up into Sunday night main event in Atlanta, Georgia, and then Money in the Bank, which is in New Orleans. And I just can't wait to be a part of all the festivities and see what kind of content that I can pull from that show. So thank you again, and I'll definitely see you next week, same time, same place.
Yeah, for sure. So everyone can find me on Twitter at Kyle Rochelle 96. I am live on here for the rundown with the World of Greg on Mondays, where we preview Monday Night Raw. On here, of course, Queens of WWE, where I tell you what the recent stuff that happened in the week in the women's division in WWE. And I'll be back here next week for episode 9 of Queens of WWE. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. See ya.